Hello and welcome to another episode of the Caged In podcast. I'm always your host, Petrus Patsilivus, and this is the best, least informed Nicolas Cage podcast out there on the interweb for you to have a little listen to. This week, I'll be talking about The Sorcerer's Apprentice. I'll be joined by my very good friend and label boss now, Max Cleworth. He owns a small independent record label called Ugly Twin. Check them out. All the details will be left in the show notes, and you can find them on Twitter as well at Ugly Twin Rex. So check all that out, give them a follow, and enjoy this episode. But before we get going with this week's talk of witchcraft and sorcery, we have my old friend, the Anagram Hunter, back with another anagram to see if there is any little clues to whether this film is enjoyable or not. And the anagram this week is, there are nicer prospects. So that is The Sorcerer's Apprentice. There are nicer prospects. Well, have a listen and find out if there are nicer prospects than watching this film. Just have a little listen to this episode and see what me and Max make of it. You can, as always, find the Anagram Hunter on Twitter at Thomas_W_Hunter. And he is there to supply you with all your anagram needs. So obviously listen at the end where you can find out what my opinion is. Is there nicer prospects than watching The Sorcerer's Apprentice? Cast your mind back to 2010 in Nicolas Cage's fourth outing with the Disney company, and he's this time playing a sorcerer. His third time working with John Turteltaub, and his first time working with Alfred Molina and Jay Baruchel. I'm, of course, talking about The Sorcerer's Apprentice. I'm not, however, talking about this film on my own. I have label boss, and more importantly, my best friend, Max Cleworth. How are you today, mate?
Hello, I'm good. It's the first day since lockdown I haven't had a shower, so I absolutely fucking stink. But other than that, all cushy.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm still sans shower at the moment, so maybe I'll have one after this record. I don't know if this record goes on long enough. We may feel really important because we may be applauded by the masses.
That's what I was almost hoping for that, and I feel like it probably will. I mean, if it would like short, yeah, it's a sort of near 2-hour film, so I feel like it will last at least 40 minutes. But yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, but maybe we could time it right when like there's obviously a particularly epic part which happens in the film. That'd be pretty fucking sweet.
Or yeah, just one of us tries to line up something witty, profound, or extraordinary at like a minute 2 and time it perfectly, and just hear the nation rip-roariously applauding is what I guess what every podcaster wants, because at the end of the day, all we are is just little sad men in their bedrooms recording, trying to find a following on the internet, which kind of brings me to this film. And before we get into Sorcerer's Apprentice, obviously, people, if you cast your minds right back, Max was actually the first ever guest on Caged In when we talked about Vampire's Kiss. But I don't think I asked you then, so I'm going to ask you now. Are you a Nicolas Cage fan?
Yeah, I am. Me and our friend Seb often have had the conversation how, although he's been turned into like a meme, I don't know, he's still decent. He's still he's still really, really convincing in what he does. It's he's good. Obviously, there's some you got to shovel through some shit to get through to the good stuff. But yeah, he's decent.
Well, yeah, the thing with that point is, at the end of the day, I look at it like he is just a workman at the same time, and obviously everybody's got bills to pay. So sometimes, I don't know, a great film isn't going to fall upon your desk all the time. So you may have to take something that isn't as good, but is still going to pay the bills.
Yeah, exactly. And he seems like the sort of guy who's got a lot of bills to pay. That obviously there's that infamous interview where he's quite literally splashing the cash. So yeah, he's got to provide for his for that somehow.
Yeah, it's that, and well, he's known for extravagant expenditures, whether that be dinosaur skulls, very very limited like early editions of comic books. I think at one point in the 2000s he owned something ridiculous like 15 properties, um, two of them being castles in
Of
Europe.
course,
Yeah, one of them
so on brand.
one of them being a castle in Bath. Which yeah brings me to this film because obviously this kind of delves in that world of castles and royalty almost, but more importantly from the like Arthur story, Merlin. And this is where we start the film, right? With Merlin.
Yeah, in 740 AD, I think it said in Britain. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed there was no mention of any Archimedes or anything like that. But yeah, it was way back in the day. I thought I was going to have like a pretty profound point and sort of find a spanner in the works about like, oh shit, if he spent like if he's not American, like how's he got an American accent? But then yeah, thinking about it, he ends up in America and he's lived through that entire transition for America becoming a country. So that completely fucked my point up.
Well, this film kind of like starts off with it's a lot of information very quickly, isn't it? Like it's a lot of like
Yeah, I feel like they could have had like a film just based on like they could make a prequel film and that would be just as like fuck, it would be just as mad.
yeah, I'll jump here. This film kind of feels like they were setting up for some kind of franchise or sequel, and we'll get to as to why later. But it's bizarre because we learn straight away that the foe for this film essentially is going to be like the biggest of the baddest because it's set up very early on that way back when there were two rival factions, and it kind of goes throughout the whole film. And it's you're either a Morganian, which is the evil, she was like this like grand high witch, or you were a millennian. Was it a
Yeah,
millennian? Millennial.
millennial.
Yeah, it did sound like millennial. I was like, okay. This feels a bit before its time. And it's a very bizarre concept of what happens because Morgana manages to like suck the life of, or no, she kills Merlin.
She kills Merlin with the assistance of Matey Boy's. Well, because Merlin's got three assistants, right? He's got the lady. What's her name?
Well, he's got Balthazar Blake, obviously, who is Nicolas Cage's character.
Yeah, and
Veronica.
And then Veronica and Horgarth, who with a name like that is obviously going to be the evil one. And then so she gets Horgarth on board, and then she kills Merlin, and somehow Veronica sort of sucks her like soul out of her or something, or like or something kind of not really explained all that much, I don't think. And then Nicolas Cage puts them in a Russian doll, right, called a Grimlock.
Yeah, and this is kind of like this is the big setup, and you kind of know from this point on that some like things are going to transpire, and it's going to be again a battle of good and evil. It's a trope we've seen so many times, and especially like around this time in like film history, like
what 740 AD.
Well, no, in just the 2000s. Obviously, this would have been like the year the final Harry Potter film would have come out. This would have been the same year as like Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. Like,
yeah,
all those kind of like aimed at like pre-teens, like teenagers almost, and they're kind of dabbling in the world of magic and witchcraft. Whereas like I personally found like to get my opinion out there like of this film is that like there's so much you see in this film that is done so much better in other places.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing where like have you ever seen those like articles where it'll say like films came out at specifically the same time, like Ants
Yes.
and Bugs Life and like that sort of thing. That it really, really does feel like one of those. And this is definitely the Shark Tale to Harry Potter's Finding Nemo or whatever.
Yeah, well, I think this may be one of them. I believe I will whilst we're talking when it comes to me what its kind of companion film is. Uh
Okay.
I will shout it out. But with the plot, we kind of then they're trapped in the Russian doll, and then Balthazar kind of goes on this quest to try and find basically the one, try and find that the Harry Potter, the Neo, the kind of the golden child that will take over.
Yeah, the misfit in like in real life who's gonna have his day when this mysterious sort of like dragon ring sort of fits him, I guess.
Well, yeah, and there's a thing about that dragon ring. It is the type of thing you would get in one of those like mystic shops, you know, that sell like incense. You can buy
Yeah.
crystals. You can probably buy a pack of like Magic the Gathering cards, and
Well,
like
like a lady with purple dreadlocks would sell that ring to you, basically.
yeah, or like you'd be able to get like those, you know, those posters that like if you look at them slightly and the pictures on them would be like it would be Merlin with I think I had one as a child because I thought, wow, it's like kind of iridescent-y like poster, always came in a frame. I bought mine in far weirder circumstances. I think I bought mine from a guy who came to our door. He just had a bag full of all these pictures. I bought like a Merlin one and a Looney Tunes one. Uh, think of that what you will, but so yeah, we kind of see this montage, don't we, of Balthazar going through trying to like, are you the one? Are you the one? And it's like,
Yeah, to like 100 different sort of like young kids, I guess, from all different parts of the globe. That's made pretty obvious with the, you know, you can see like the pyramids, you can see like all different like cultures basically throughout time. And unfortunately, none of them are the one.
well, the thing is with that is that like it's just a bit weird, isn't it? It's just a bit weird. This kind of guy, like within 10 minutes of this film, we have a guy who's been alive for centuries accosting like a boy and locking him in a shop. When we get introduced to Dave, the like protagonist of this film, he's on a school trip and he chases a bit of paper, right?
Yeah, so he fancies this girl. He's I think he's cool at this stage, Dave. He writes like, "Do you want to be Dave's girlfriend?" Like tick box for for girlfriend or tick box for like friend. And you don't see what you don't actually see what it says, and it magically blows away. He writes it on a sticky note, and it seems to stick to like everything. And I've had my fair sort of experience with sticky notes, and they never stick to anything. So it must be magic.
And then like he lures him into this shop and like again, this is probably 5 minutes in and I think like that is a thing with this. The pacing of it is just quite bizarre in that it just throw like, do you know what I mean? It kind of has this big it kind of just keeps stopping and starting at the beginning, like 'cause it kind of has this, and then we kind of like we've had this like thousands of year jump to like the year 2000, and we know this because of the soundtrack, as you pointed out, is
Jimmy Eat World the Middle.
and he like I don't know like what is the shop he's in as well? What is that fucking shop that Balthazar seems to?
Snooper's Paradise.
For anyone out of Brighton who doesn't get that reference, it is just a shop that sells bric-a-brac. I think dust, bric-a-brac, and just absolute mad shit. Just anything you can think you can get, and anything you can think that you never wanted, you can probably get it in Snooper's Paradise. But like, he then opens he opens the Russian doll, right? Well, he tries on the ring, it's a fit.
Yep. And then Balthazar nips upstairs or downstairs and like somehow opens this weird like magic like cupboard thing with his fingers, and then to get like a book of like scrolls or something, which I think he picked up in that montage in a bit of a hurry as he was running away from Merlin's corpse, I guess. And then when he comes down, like it seems that the like dragon ring sort of it attracts that weird Russian doll, and it breaks through the wall. And obviously Dave, being like, you know, a confident child at this stage, sort of picks it up, and the first layer of it's the first layer of it sort of like sheds away, and Horgarth comes out and starts fucking tearing the shit up, really, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, and like we then like it's just bizarre, isn't it? Because then we kind of like he comes out of being locked in this Russian doll for years, and then literally instantly, him and Balthazar are locked in just a massive fucking urn, right?
Yeah, they so they have a big old battle in the weird sort of dusty shop. Then then Balthazar, like, he's there like, run, Dave, or something like that. And then as he leaves, he runs out real scared, obviously, because he's about 10. I think there was a fire in there as well. And then he sees his teacher out there, which is pretty miraculous because he runs away in New York, and it looks like he runs away like quite far. New York's a pretty fucking windy city.
He goes full Kevin McAllister, doesn't he? He's just like
big time.
He's out on the streets. He's fucking. He's lost in New York, basically. But he like, I don't like, we get a cut to 10 years, and this like has scarred him and hung over him, this incident, because when he came out, he looked like he pissed his pants, and like, I don't think like the way he talks about it after this point is just quite bizarre. Like, he makes it out like he's been through like hell. And he seems quite like well adjusted, really. Do you know what I mean? He seems a bit nervous and a bit like nebbishy, but like he doesn't seem like someone, like the way he talks about it is like people have made his life absolute filth.
Yeah, and like as well, he meets people in the film, and they're like, it comes to light that he's known like among the tri-state area or something as like, I don't know, Davey pissed his pants or something. And there's, I don't know, everyone's pissed their pants, man. Like, I don't know how it is in America, but I've had a very interesting relationship with Ewan. And like, I've never been known as Max who pisses his pants.
Well, it's that, and like, he obviously, like, they all think he made up this kind of world of witchcraft and wizardry, but like, we don't get to sit with that long enough. We don't get to kind of like people not believing him, because it is literally instantly like it happens. It's 10 years to the day, so that is the day. Like, we get a very quick thing of Balthazar saying, "Oh, you don't want to touch that urn. If you touch that urn, you'll get locked in it for 10 years." For like, so they made a big point of being like, it's 10 years to the day, because that is the day that Balthazar and Horgarth are gonna be released from the urn.
Yeah, but also 10 years from that day, it's his birthday, and I swear it's not actually mentioned in the build up to that it's like, well, when he on the day he pisses himself, that it's his birthday. But when he's like, you know, well, basically, you know, he's turned into a bit of a geek, because one, he's clever, two, he wears really nice flannel shirts, and three, he's got a Misfits sticker on his like wall or something. So like, but you don't know it's his birthday in the first instance, and I would have like it would have had much more of an impact on you as a child if you wet yourself in public on your like birthday or something.
and it like put you in therapy for the foreseeable future, and kind of has made you this like nervous wreck. Like, I kind of get it. I kind of get why he would be in therapy. I just don't feel like the film really needed that. It could just be like, nobody believed me. Fine. Do you know what I mean? Not like it's made me a shell of a man and like, oh, I can't. Like, he's doing pretty all right for himself. He's like, obviously, he's still in New York. He's now at university, I'm assuming, studying physics.
It's physics as well, because he lives in that like I don't know, he lives, or he's like got that like rented space, which seems like, well, one, he said he gets it for free, and it's like the size of like a fucking train station underground.
It is basically the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lair. If any of you have ever like seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's basically, it looks like the set from that, and again, it's just like a thing of like, they need a place that they can train, basically. Oh, he happens to have it. He happens to have like the funding to be able to like just fuck around with Tesla coils, it's like there's nothing. Like, that wouldn't like be a massive drain on like the fucking like the what's it called, just the electricity's not going, like, do you know what I mean? Like, that would surely be draining like electricity on the grid, like in that local area.
Big time.
And he's just managed to like, do what you want, mate. Do what you want, like. And he's far arsed about with this. He's still hung up on a girl that, like, the girl he fancied, that he was like 10, or he bumps into her, or he said, I kind of didn't get that. Has he always pined for her, or did is it just happenstance that exactly 10 years, like, it makes it sound like he hadn't seen her since that day, right?
Yeah. I don't think he had, but at the same time, there's no indication that he was remotely sort of like still sort of thinking about her or anything like that. I guess there's no like other indication that he's been romantically. I mean, as we've established, he's one of those sort of like weird Hollywood losers now. He's actually probably quite attractive. He's well dressed, but you know, there's no indication of his romantic life or anything like that. So I don't really know where I was going with that, but that's definitely the most believable thing in this film.
Well, it is that thing of just like, it happens to be a lot of like, it's a film that relies a lot on coincidence, like,
or magic.
Well, yeah. Obviously, there is the magic, but like, for a film that deals with magic, why, like, for the plot to, do you know what I mean? Like, this whole thing,
be that dependent on chance kind of thing. It's there, like, if you've got the powers to pretty much do like not anything, but near enough, like you've got the powers to do like an awful lot, you probably wouldn't base your plot around something which is,
well, yeah, like,
that's plus, yeah.
The thrust of this basically is him pining after her throughout the film, but learning that he is like a master sorcerer. He is the prime millennial, and he's like, it's basically the Karate Kid meets Harry Potter.
Absolutely.
Is the way I'd describe this. And like, that's like a big chunk of the middle of the film is like just him and Balthazar, Nick Cage, just training, right? And I just want to quickly talk to you about, like, what do you think of like Nick Cage's look in this film? Like, can you describe to people how he's dressed?
Greasy. He's wearing dad jeans and dad shoes and a smelly looking trench coat. And obviously I don't know, he just looks a bit, he basically just looks like someone who has spent 10 years in an ashtray.
Well, he looks a bit like a low rent Van Helsing.
Yep. Yeah, he does, big time.
With kind of like, I don't know if like whose choice this was, but he's kind of got this like grown out, dirty, greasy, like bleach blonde hair that's kind of like gone all a bit dusty and grubby. I'm not sure if that's like. No, I'm trying to think. His role before this. No, it's definitely got to be a hairpiece. I'm not.
If that was a hairpiece, why choose that one?
I don't. What I don't know. I don't. Obviously, I'd have to look at the recorded the filming schedules of these films. But I know in Kick-Ass he also has like blonde hair. So possibly this was filmed first, and he had bleached his hair. Because I'm pretty sure around this period I've seen photos of him kind of with like outside of films with that dirty blonde hair, and
Okay.
it's a bizarre look, right?
Yeah, big time, man. I mean, he just looks so. Yeah, he just looks kind of untrustworthy and weird.
So on the
yeah, he's like he gets to when he sort of when they come out of the big urn thing. They first of all, Matey Boy comes out. Horgarth, sorry, comes out. Hogarth's the name of the kid from the Iron Giant, right?
I've never seen the Iron Giant.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, yeah, right. So Horgarth comes up first, and he's in this this couple's house, and then like the guys there like, oh, you never should have spent so much money on that heap of trash or whatever it is, and then like he comes out in a big blaze of like dust or like maggots or something, and then I don't know, he's there like, am I the first one out? So then he finds out he is, so he lobs the urn out the window, and then you think this is going to be the end for Balthazar. Obviously not. Obviously it's. Don't know. It's as epic as you'd think with a Nicolas Cage in a Disney film, and he gets out of the urn mid sort of plummet and just holds on to like a wall, doesn't die, goes finds. Then I think he just goes and finds Matey Boy, right?
Well, before he goes and finds Matey Boy, he looks to like I think it's the Chrysler building, and like mounts to the top. Like he gets to the top of it. I'd love if there's a deleted scene of him like just taking the stairs or like taking the lift. But I imagine he uses magic to get himself up there. But like he turns one of like the gargoyles on the side of the building, like this kind of metal eagle. He just like animates it and flies to Dave, who's at this point being chased by Horgarth and a pack of wolves.
Oh yeah, because his mate's got that like metaphor about like he's not going out on his birthday, so like you need to be like one of the pack, you need to hunt, you need to like mate or whatever, and then so then he turns he makes him get chased by wolves, fucking savage in New York as well.
I actually did some research on this film as I do with all of them because that's kind of my job as the host of this podcast. But those wolves, I'm not like it says that they were like ridiculous. Like I think the wording here is they were overwhelmingly tame and affectionate creatures. So they had to track points painted on their faces so they could actually CG angrier looking faces on the wolves.
It would have been so much better if they were just like wolves walking around smiling.
Yeah, like hey, get back here, Dave. Get back here,
please.
Tell us where the Grimlock is, fella. So he like, I don't really want to like just go forensically beat for beat through this because I just feel like there's not enough, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's a very formulaic film.
Yeah.
And I think there's like there's certain points that like we could talk about for ages in that like he kind of has this confrontation. Again, it's very quickly that he's like on board. In the same night this happens, he's chased by wolves. They end up teaming up. He's not really told why he's the premillennial yet, and like by Balthazar. And then the next thing you know, they're in fucking Chinatown in a acupuncture like.
Yeah, because I think we forgot to mention this as well. But in the Russian Doll, like one of the layers of it was this guy, I think it might have been like a Chinese guy or something like that, like a Chinese warrior. Like he was in it as well.
Sunlock, yeah, it's kind of all of the big bad throughout history. Well, it doesn't really seem like that many either. Like in the film, like it kind of sets it up in like the start, like it would be epic as well, doesn't it? Like it's kind of like any bad force that's ever been in the world has been trapped in this. We only see like 4 bad guys, unless like they were just holding off and being like, well, actually, no, the Grimlock works like this, and there's actually some more bad guys that we're going to roll out for the sequels.
Roll out like Genghis Khan and Hitler and stuff.
Exactly.
Really fuck it up.
That would have like, imagine that. That would have been terrible. Well, because one of them that they do wheel out is actually a character from history, like the young girl.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there is a young girl called, I believe the name may be Abigail Williams.
Okay.
Who is actually the first like woman in history, or the first female in history who was tried in Salem for being a witch.
Oh right, okay. That explains the sort of dodgy get up really.
So for me, like, it would have been really cool if they had kind of like played on like mysticism throughout history. Like, I don't know, Rasputin could have been a good one to have in there. He was supposed to be like a kind of mystic, scary fucking creature as well. I'm not sure if you've ever seen photos of Rasputin, despite the fact he does look like he could live in East London very easily. Kind of, is it like, is he a Russian wizard or is he a hipster? We do not know. But yeah, we kind of
that little girl was only in it for about like 5 minutes as well.
Well, yeah. So many people are definitely vitally underused in this. Like her being one of them. Like just that character. Another is the fantastic Toby Kebbell, who kind of plays Drake, I believe his name is. Not the Drake, not the left foot slide, right foot do whatever. I'm gonna do a song for TikTok because I'm a sellout. Not that Drake. No, I'm talking, of course. His name is Drake Stone, the kind of Chris.
Oh, mate.
He's supposed to be like a kind of Chris Angel type, like Las Vegas magician performer, right?
Yeah, this annoyed me a little bit because I was thinking like, oh fuck, like I was talking earlier about how when Americans do like a British accent, it's they're like, oh shit, it just sounds so overly British and it just sounds real poo basically, and it's like, all right, mate. Like I thought that was an example of that, and I was there like, that's Matey from Dead Man's Shoes, like he's actually class, and he's just British, so that was a bit of a fucking kick in the teeth.
Well, yeah, he weirdly, like, he's been in some fantastic films. I've so much so you said Dead Man's Shoes. He plays Rob Gretton in Closer. Is it Closer? The Joy Division film.
Oh yeah.
He plays Joy Division's manager. He's also in Guy Ritchie's Rock and Roller. Like he's
decent,
really, really good. But in this, he kind of played like, I guess it is the character, but like for me, straight away, I was like, he's channeling Russell Brand.
Yeah, absolutely, big time Russell Brand.
This kind of pompous, like god complex, like performer who like kind of is getting by on the skin of their teeth, really, and it's more pomp and charisma than maybe like actual flair and talent. But like again, we learn because Horgarth goes to recruit him, like Balthazar has recruited Dave as his apprentice. Thus, the yin.
Well, hang on, wait. He gets the advice to recruit this Stone character, like from someone at a takeaway, which is not mentioned again. Like he got like he sees the guy like flipping burgers, and he's there like, oh, I haven't seen that staff in like ages, like talking about Horgarth's staff, and he's there like, yeah, I mean, I've got this guy for you. It's like that guy's like, I don't know. You'd think he'd be a sort of like a guru for the baddies or whatever, but he's just not like spoken about again, is he?
Yeah, like it's very weird, isn't it? And considering this film does lead for like it does very much in the way of like your like for me this is like sub Pirates of the Caribbean kind of like sub like like National Treasure. Like they wanted franchise ability, they wanted like longevity, but the world that's created isn't rich enough, and there's not enough like kind of there is no it feels like there's no expanse out of the world that you're shown of like a larger world of like mysticism and magic. It almost feels quite contained in that the characters we see that are using magic here are the only people on Earth that can use magic. Or if we feel like it, we're just going to introduce someone who like there's no explanation for, like there is no explanation as to how or who taught like Stone that he like Drake Stone that he had magic, or are you like
Yeah,
or
yeah.
there's no thingy that you're born with it, like or like what bloodline he's supposed to be from, because we learn that Dave's bloodline is that of Merlin's, but we don't learn about anyone. We don't learn that his bloodline, like it would make sense if he was of Horghast bloodline, but he was put in the Grimlock years ago, or there was no reveal that he was from that bloodline. It just makes no sense to me.
No, there's no like, there's no like parallel which would have really sort of like backed up the yin to the yang, as you were saying.
It's bizarre. Like, yeah, I'm reading my notes here, and like, this film was largely Nicolas Cage's idea to be made.
Oh, yeah, shock.
Well, apparently he wanted to like explore a mystic world with a magical character, and like,
Well, he explored a regular world with a magic character, so half points there, Cage.
yeah, that is like that you make a very valid point there. It's just that I don't. I don't know, because like the kind of thrust of this film, you have this kind of good versus evil stuff going on. That's kind of like we know how this is gonna. We know from the get go how this is gonna wrap up, and we kind of have this B plot of Dave kind of trying to chirps this girl, and like his way to impress a girl is locking them in a cage. They're locking them in a cage that gets shocked with electricity, whilst the electricity manages to play
Stevie Wonder.
Superstition by Stevie Wonder. And then I had to Google it. The other song is a song by One Direction, but it's like The Creep. Like more than anything, Dave's just a bit of a creep, isn't he? He's a bit of like a
he's a weirdo.
He's a bit of like a stalkery type, like I fancied you since I was 10 years old. Like even this film, they're like with continuity. You know you're not enjoying something when you pick up on weird continuity things, because it's supposed to be his 10th birthday when he pisses his pants. It's supposed to be his 20th birthday when they come out of the ashtray, but one of the first things he says to, I think it is Balthazar, is like he says about the Grimlock, or he asks him about something, and Dave says, "I don't remember. I was 9 years old."
Really?
Yep.
Fuck's sake! Smashed out of the park on that one. I don't know, because like when they come out of the well, basically, because he meets the girl he's sort of like trying to, he's fancied since she was like a child. He meets her at like this like physics lecture, because he's like mad into like physics, and then like they walk out like afterwards, and he's sort of like just being like a little bit too familiar, letting her share the umbrella or whatever. And then it seems that like their like satellite's broken. So he's like, okay, cool. You know, I'm a physics like guy. I'll fix that. He gets it like fixed. And then she's there like, oh, thank you. Like, I don't know what I do without my music. And then like, that's why he plays that like One Direction song in the weird like little shop.
Did I say One Direction? I meant One Republic. I do apologise.
Just
as bad.
Yeah, I can't imagine Harry Styles is going to be complaining too much. But like, yes, I don't know. And like, she's there like, oh, you know, music is like, it's like my one like getaway kind of thing. And he's there like, oh, I've never like thought about it like that way, or like, you know, alludes to like that sort of mentality. And then he's there like, I've got that with physics. Like, you know, physics is my one like getaway from reality. And it's there like, mate, but like, I get that. Like, it can be a sort of like a thing which you're mad into, but physics is it's not an escape from reality. It's actually reality.
And like, little does he know that he has actually got the biggest escape from reality coming. In that, like,
yeah.
he's a magician, and like, I don't know. I just feel like this is like, it's quite rushed, like, especially in like storytelling wise. Like, he goes from knowing absolutely fuck all, like, throughout this, to knowing, like, to being like the biggest, baddest fucking like magician sorcerer that anybody's ever seen, like, throughout the like, we kind of see these scenes of like very again textbook like scenes back down in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lair, him and like Balthazar going through these, like, telling him the spells and stuff like that. And I don't know, we don't get like, I think for this kind of stuff, that's why I like the Harry Potters and stuff like that, is you kind of get that there is a history, like,
yeah,
and this like just kind of tried to dump you all of the history in the first 5 minutes, and you're supposed to just like
absorb it
and go, oh, that's fine then, I'll just go with whatever else is presented to me. Whereas like, I don't know, and like yeah, I know I keep saying about the thrust of this film, but I think it's quite lazy in that everybody's motive in this film is for love. Whether it's like the reason Horgarth is bad is he fancied Monica Bellucci's character Veronica, and she went with Balthazar instead, and like Dave's more caught up on like, it's quite frankly like, I don't know how horny he is, but like, if I was told by like a wizard, like, it's like,
you are a wizard,
and like there is a case of like life and death, and like,
but not just your life and death, like, you know, a sort of planetary wide life and death.
Yeah, and you're going, yeah, but I really want to get my willy wet.
Yeah, not really got your priorities straight, to be honest.
It's like, come on, Dave, like, pull your wand out your ass and like get going. Like, do you know, sort this out. Like, I like, I'm not sure if you know much about like the history of where like the Sorcerer's Apprentice like comes from. Like, obviously,
I'm afraid I know.
So it's based on like an old, I believe he's a German composer. It's like poem, like, and then, or no, it's from like a German poem, which then was, yeah, so a German poem called Der Zaulem. I fucking, well, the poem is by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, and it's from 1797, which in part inspired the music by Paul Dukas from 1987. Bloody hell. That was then used in the Disney, like, changed, like, adapted into the music for Fantasia in 1940, the like Walt Disney film. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it. Like, it's predominantly,
well, yeah, like, oh, go on.
Predominantly like a musical, like, and like one of the sections within that is called The Sorcerer's Apprentice, where Mickey Mouse kind of makes mops and like stuff like that dance, which we see in this film, right?
Yeah. That I think I think I think that's a good sort of full circle little bit there. I quite like that. I had no clue about that, but that's quite nice. Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, so there's like that. Yeah, that scene is like a nice like throwback to that, and it's like I don't know, like that moment, like the tone. That's the thing. The tone of this film's all over the place. Like that moment makes it seem like more of a broad comedy than it is, because like it takes itself really fucking seriously. I found like
Big time.
yeah, everyone's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, we're all serious with witches, wizards, serious. Like Nick Cage, like again, I think one of his best moments is as Balthazar when he like pretends to be a policeman.
Yeah. Well, so that's just after when I can't remember his name, but when they're in Chinatown and they that guy like is basically kicking the fuck off, and he rubs his like he's got a belt on him, and it's like a dragon belt, and it makes this dragon which is being like walked through, this obviously fake dragon being walked through Chinatown, come to life. So after that, you know, they like play it off, and they're like, okay, look, because they speak to other policemen. They're like, look, guys, it's fine, you know, these people are mad, you know, whatever. But I was thinking, like, what if there's not a fake dragon around? Like, what if there's just like, I don't know, a statue of a goat, and he's just rubbing his belt or something? Would it make that goat become like a mad like fire goat?
I don't know. I don't know like when Dave's birthday is. Like, does it happen to fall on Chinese New Year, or is this like kind of a racially insensitive view of like, oh, go, yeah, as soon as you go through the arches in Chinatown, it's fucking big paper dragons all over the place, and people, do you know what I mean? And like fucking chop suey just slobbed at you. Like, it's just very bizarre. Like, again, a film that involves magic relying way too much on coincidence to like push the narrative forward, because without that coincidental it happens to be Chinese New Year and that being there, we wouldn't have had that scene. We wouldn't have had that massively expensive fucking scene with a massive CGI dragon and hundreds of extras and more confetti than the end of a Coldplay concert.
There was an awful lot of confetti, and I have seen Coldplay, and yeah, that adds up. That checks out.
Yeah, like I think, like I remember, I was reading earlier, like that took days. That shot,
Yeah, full fucking cleaning up.
like, and it's insane. Like, but there are moments in this film. There are like set pieces that are really, really good. Like, I thought the car chase, for instance, is like, it's quite fun, and like there's a real good use of magic in that, like they can just change their car into whatever they want.
Another car.
Yeah, like another little like.
What? Sorry. One thing which again, like, sort of like wound me up about like this a little bit. So he changes the car into another car, which is obviously a really, really fast car. This guy's been like in a box for like 2,000 years. How does he know what car's like faster? Surely, like by his standards, he's just turned his car into like a really fast like horse or something.
Well, I guess like we don't know. We don't know anything about these magic people. We don't know like how quickly they ingest like culture.
Do they have the internet in there?
Well, and the fact that like they go, like Balthazar goes on about like being incognito, dresses like he lives hundreds of years ago, and has a car that looked like it would be like driven by the Luftwaffe. Like, he's kind of got this like it's a 1930s Rolls Royce that is actually owned by Nick Cage. That is Nick Cage's Rolls Royce.
Of course it is. Yep. I mean, I'm surprised, and even more surprised at why I'm surprised. Yeah, of course, that's so on brand.
And I think he just wanted to be like, I'm essentially playing what I've always wanted to be. I'm kind of this like shamanic man anyway. Like, I wish I could have these powers. I do wear like excessive amount of. If you see photos of Nicolas Cage in real life, he wears a lot of rings and like kind of does have the look of like a kind of yeah,
Goth.
a nouveau shaman. Like that's what he
Yeah.
calls his acting style, like a nouveau shamanic like style. And he kind of
Okay.
he's got that look to him, but like it just felt like this was him just going like, oh, like I don't know. This was just a really fucking expensive cosplay, and it's like I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's enough to warrant like to warrant something that's like enjoyable for other people, and that like for me, it's kind of it's annoyed me about this film in that like it could have like I don't know make something that like one isn't a cash in on the kind of like witch and wizard thing that was kind of like going on around the time, and two,
Yeah.
don't be self-indulgent of like we want to do like oh Nick Cage wants to play uh like a mystic, so we'll do it. No, make something because it's gonna be fucking good and like especially I don't know, especially in like the kids, the kind of family film genre. It kind of feels like a bit of a like a slap in the face almost.
Yeah, yeah, especially because there has been, as we've mentioned, there's been so much sort of like good output in that field. Like Harry Potter's, they were like, well, I don't know, even if you don't like them, they're objectively like magical in a cinematic sense. This just felt like it's there, like okay, well, no, it's Nick Cage living his fantasy wearing a rawhide trench coat.
Which is like annoying for me because obviously like on the whole, I like Nick Cage. I just feel like this film is a misstep in that, like, one, it isn't a good film, like, and I want to hope that it is like a swing and a miss, but like from like reading, it kind of does seem like more of a vanity project, and like being like, how can I have a vanity project and it like be hopefully be profitable? Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, sure.
he's already working with like a director he's worked with twice before on the uh, National Treasure films. Like so, like do you know what I mean? It's kind of got that like incestuous, like but like
Mm.
nepotism going on, and it's a bit like I can't like I don't know like through. And I didn't feel angry like watching it. Like I just kind of thought like there were moments was like this is perfectly passable and just yeah it's good,
This
good
is
enough.
perfectly passable for like a an afternoon, and Channel 5 is on the telly.
Oh yeah, yeah, like a Sunday hung over on a Sunday, this is on.
Yeah, you don't really want to watch it, but if it's on in the background, you're not going to get too pissed off.
Yeah, if like unless I know something's definitely on another channel,
Hmm.
I probably won't skip over for at least 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And there is always something like within 20 minutes, there is something like equally like crazy, whether that be like Toby Kebbell's performance or just some kind of like weird, like, yeah, like back to that like chase. Like, I really like the idea of like the weird mirror world that they kind of
I thought
create.
that was sweet. I think that's the best sort of like concept in the film. So when Drake Stone sort of meets Dave for the first time with Horgarth. He's in the toilet of the uni after he's walked his the girl he fancies like to her yoga class, and matey boy Horgarth like sets this thing up like in the mirror, makes it go a little bit like wobbly, and then they have a big fight or whatever. Nick Cage comes in, Balthazar comes in, and then ends up putting him in there. Now that idea is like revisited, and yeah, I think it's actually pretty sick. So they're driving along. It's called a Hungarian mirror or something, I think.
Hopefully, there's no like offence caused to any
mirrors. So they're like, I don't know, when you go in this Hungarian mirror, basically everything's in reverse and you just can't get out of the mirror, and it doesn't explain what will happen, but Dave asks, are we going to die? And he says, no, not if we get out quick. It doesn't explain why you'll die if you're in this mirror world, because it doesn't really seem like there's a time limit on it. Also, why has Dave got his fucking dog in the car? And then where does the dog go?
I don't know.
I didn't miss that or anything, but like I didn't miss something like obvious, but like I thought like there was an opportunity with the dog being there in the first place. Is was it Tank, the little bulldog?
Yeah.
Like, there's an opportunity for him to like be turned into a big fuck off Brexit bulldog or something. But like I don't know, that's just an opportunity missed. And then it's just that he gets him out the car at the end when whatever happens, and yeah, that's it. Don't really see the dog anymore, I don't think.
Well, it's just bizarre because old Hogarden's like big plan basically is to get Morgana back from like the Grimlock to open a portal to like just awaken the dead and just destroy the planet. And like I always kind of like I'm just baffled by this, like that as an end goal for
anything.
Yeah.
Like it's like even if you've got like loads of like hate, like so like that much like evil, I guess you're gonna, I don't know, it's gonna be like chasing the dragon, I suppose. It's like once you fucking like kill everyone, it's like, oh, I've actually you've got nothing else left to do. Once you've like raised the army of the dead, what are you gonna do? You can't kill them.
Well, yeah, and it's like who are the like the final two people are Horgarth and Morgana. That's it. It's like that's boring, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, go like,
yeah.
I kind of get Thanos' thing of half the universe. Makes sense. But like, we'll get rid of everyone. It would just be two of us left and like a load of these zombies from the fucking catacombs. No, thank you. And like,
yeah,
their like plan for it as well is like, I don't know how they would have done this in the past because their plan relies heavily on making sure that like satellite dishes are all pointing in the same direction so Morgana can raise herself up and just like throw fireballs between the satellite dishes to kind of create like this weird like almost like it's not a pentagram. It's got like it's very much of that ilk though, isn't it? Like,
it's a spooky shape.
Spooky shape, something like, do you know what I mean? Something you'd find like, I don't know, someone who's listening to Marilyn Manson at school probably scratching into the desk with a compass, like
yeah, big time next to their sort of their homework diary Slipknot S.
Yeah, and then at lunch breaks they're reading like, I don't know, like a witchcraft book, or they're like, oh, I really like Aleister Crowley. It's like, oh yeah, all right, yeah, that's great. Like that's great. Like please do not pull the head off that pigeon.
And they've got the sort of, yeah, I don't know. She strikes me as the sort of person that if she didn't sort of get locked in the Grimlock, she'd own one purple hoodie with like a wolf on it or something, or something along them lines.
Well, I think we've gone full circle in that she would be the person who would sell you a ring. Like
fuck.
It's quite weird actually. Like after this record, I might take a photo for the listeners and post it when this episode comes out. But I'll show you. I'm currently like living with my parents, and they have these like dragon and like Merlin like little figurines in our bathroom. Well, they were last time I checked. If they've moved, I'll find out where they've gone and I'll take a photo still. But yeah, spooky stuff. Like maybe that's what I don't know. Maybe my son could be.
Maybe you're Millennium.
Could be, yeah. But the prime millennial. Yeah, very bizarre. Like so. we kind of like go through all these like formulaic things of like, I don't know, Hogarden trying to like just steal everyone else's very like paint by numbers bad guy shit, really, isn't it?
Mhm.
Like, and it's like classic, like they've got the Grimlock. Oh no, they've got the Grimlock. Oh no, they've nearly got the Grimlock. Oh no, the like the chips very much stack up against like the protagonist, basically. Like it
Yeah.
looks like it's surefire they're fucked, and then it kind of, I don't know, like the best friend as well, massively underutilized. Like we see him maybe all of like 2 scenes.
I think it actually is. It's the initial scene where he's talking about being in the wolf pack. Then it's the second scene when he's there, like, mate, I really need you, and he's sort of like, you know, chilling out with his girlfriend or whatever, and then yeah, there's the follow-on scene where I think he might be driving a car or something, but I can't really remember what. He doesn't really have an impact on the last like bit.
Well, yeah.
Again, maybe he's looking after the dog. I don't know.
And like they're kind of plan at the end, like it kind of, you see it coming a mile off. Like Dave knows all this stuff about Tesla coils. They're doing stuff with regards to satellite dishes and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, of course, like that's going to play a massive part in it, and it
Yeah.
does, right? He like, I don't know, yeah, like how like. Well, you take the lead on this kind of end battle. I just kind of found it quite underwhelming.
So, fucking, what's her name? What's the evil lady's name called? Morgana. Yeah, she's sort of like you know, headbanging in the middle of this park, and Horgarth he's sort of keeping an eye out for Cage. Cage gets a little bit closer to him, and then I can't really remember what happens with that. It seems a bit null. There's a bull. They turn this massive like metal bull alive to chase Dave when he gets near, and fucking yeah, I don't know what really happens to that bull. Like, does that disappear, or does it turn back into like stone or something, or is it?
No, the bull is carried away by the massive like iron eagle.
Like those videos you see on the internet of like a goat getting pulled off a cliff by an eagle. It's just like that.
And it kind of like it like Morgana gets destroyed because Dave is that, yeah, it's the pre-millennial, and he's just like he's got it, like he's all of a sudden, it's like under pressure he is a diamond, in that like he is just shit hot and manages.
Well, he brings out that great line. So after, because he gets his girlfriend to sort of like kick one of the satellites, so it just goes all skew with, and then they can't raise the dead from, like, you know, everywhere in the world, it seems. So like once that happens, she's there like, oh my god, like what's happening? He's there like, I'll add some science to your magic or something, like a really bad line, worse than that somehow, but
yeah, really underwhelming. Oh yeah, and he like just electrocutes her, and then she just like disintegrates into dust. Like, again, like Horgarth's ending is just like really bad, in that like you don't see what happens to him. He's off screen, and like the moment I saw that, I was like, they're gunning for a sequel. They are 100% gunning for a sequel.
Yeah,
and
big
it's
time.
just like, no. Like, if that was the case, they should have like really slowed down the pace and created like a nice, believable, interesting world. Like,
and given some sort of like digestible character development, instead of their like, okay, so this happened with like wizards thousands of years ago. Then there's this massive like really rushed montage, and now they're playing some like 2000 pop punk.
So like, yeah, like Balthazar nearly dies because Dave is like the fucking shit hot
apparently
wizard that he is. All of a sudden, he brings him back to life, and everyone gets what they want, basically. Like they get the girls. That again is like the thrust of what everyone wants in this, and it's just a bit like, oh, like, Do you know what I mean? Like, can people
Hmm.
actually do stuff for the good of other people? Like, Balthazar, stop thinking with your little floppy wand between your leg. And Dave, you should stop doing it as well, you dirty little prick. Like, it's just, I just like, come on. Like, and it's like, that's it, really. That's the film. Like, they kind of,
Yeah.
apart from, did you see there was a post-credits scene?
Oh, I didn't. No, I waited a little bit into the credits, and then I thought there's probably not going to, because it looked like the Disney Plus stream was ending too soon. So obviously they had a sequel intended. What was it?
So, like, again, like, if it was just this, it would have been quite nice, because first of all, you see the hat that Mickey Mouse wears in Fantasia in like a under like a bell jar, like in an
Oh,
office, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then the camera pans across, and we see Horgoth's hat that Dave had found in the park on the table, and then we see what can only be described as the very distinct silhouette of Horgoth coming past and taking his hat, and then bang, cut to black.
so wait. So Dave took the hat. Dave took Hogarth's hat,
No, I
and
think
then
he just discards it. I think he. I
okay.
don't know who took that.
After spending this much time and this much effort to sort of stop evil kicking off anywhere and everywhere, you'd make sure that like the guy who was a massive catalyst for this was done.
Oh, definitely. But that's what makes
Okay.
this film just like stink of like we want a sequel, and it's like you don't just get a sequel like because you want it. Like, you have to earn it, and by doing that, you make a decent film that's like engaging and like creating a world that people want to go back to. Like, again, it's very loosely based on a song from a musical that Disney had like 80 years ago.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like, it's kind of like rushed. It's, yeah, I feel like I'm just repeating myself, but I just can't like explain enough how kind of like it's just quite underwhelming for like what can be quite like a joyous and fun like genre. Like, I'm very much into like what would be considered family films a lot of the time.
Mate, they're amazing. They're great. I mean, they are literally enjoyable for all the family. Like, if you leave all your pretense at the door, it's they're like, yeah, they're great. They're great fun.
Well, even looking at like the same team, we look at like the Nicolas Cage, John Turteltaub like team up. Like, it works. Like,
Is it? Have they only done National Treasures together?
yeah, but both of those,
They're great. Yeah, they're wicked.
because they set up a world that is like believable, and I don't mean just because this is like magic that it's unbelievable, but like,
It's not convincing.
yeah, it's not a convincing world. Like, obviously, the stuff that happens in National Treasure is still like out of this world in a way, and that like it's not that wouldn't like that's not going to happen, but you can like it's enjoyable enough, and the kind of thrust of the story is like
Decent.
believable enough. Yeah, and the world
It's got substance, and it's engaging.
and it's got charm. It's got charm. This kind of like lacked charm, and it was like,
Well, you say it lacked charm, but there is a I wrote down a quote from when Balthazar first meets Dave, and he's like telling him all about Horgarth and stuff, and he says, "Don't be careful, or he'll turn you into a pig who just loves physics." If that's not charming, I really don't know what is.
So I guess that is the Sorcerer's Apprentice, but like I got a few questions to ask you before we wrap this show up, because it's getting late and it's really fucking hot. It's really hot today. Have you like?
Yeah, I'm sweating. I opened my window earlier, but then because I've recently moved into a place where there's a takeaway just below, which is still open, and they play reggae really really loud like all the time. And when I first moved in, I was like, oh, this is quite charming. This is quite nice. But now I'm there like going to sleep, just singing like oh oh oh, and that's getting a bit old. And I didn't really want anyone else to experience that against their will.
So yeah, before we wrap this up, I have a scale in which I judge Nicolas Cage films normally. If all the answers favour more towards yes, tends to be, but a good film. It's my personal scale, and I'm kind of like for those of you at home who don't know, like I will be releasing the data I'm collecting at some point in some weird way. But question number one is: does Nick Cage have bad hair? Does he have bad hair?
Yes, absolutely. Well, is it out of 10?
No, just yes or no, like straight up yes or no.
Well, 10. yes, he does. He does. He's got very bad hair. He's got. I can't really think of a Nicolas Cage film you might be able to, but I can't really think of a Nicolas Cage film where he's got worse hair.
Yes, I can. Next.
Okay.
Next is the one that spawned that very famous photo that kind of circulated the internet for years of Nicolas Cage with like an eagle on his head.
Okay.
The hair, like the hairpiece, is out of this world. Is
it?
It's perfectly cheap and nasty, and like looks all kind of bad. And yeah, it's probably the worst hair. I
think his hair in this one just sort of like annoys me so much, is because it looks so like realistically bad. Like it looks, I don't know. Yeah. It's yeah.
And then my second question of this is always: does Nick Cage have a mental voice? Is he the only thing mad with his voice? Like, as you know, Vampire's Kiss, like that is
very bad.
That is a Cage. Like, where's that come from? Deadfall, again, a film where it's like, where's he from?
Yeah, I don't think he's got a particularly mad voice. He sounds a little bit sort of predatory in parts, but other than that, like no mad voice from me there.
And the third and final question that is always a like kind of something a lot of Nick Cage fans look for, especially since he's become the kind of meme phenomenon that he is do we get a Nicolas Cage freak out in this film?
A Nicolas Cage freak out. I'm trying to think of you can't really class sort of spawning confetti out of your hands as a freak out. No. You can't really class driving a car that was probably leased by Marilyn Manson as a freak. I don't think you can get. No, I don't think that you can pull a freak out of this film. He seems pretty one-dimensional all the way through. There's no sort of peaks or troughs in his output.
Well, like since I've been like using this scale, and it's something at some point I will like revisit his earlier films and test them by this scale, is it tends to be that if the first answer is yes, so like does he have bad hair? It's normally bad hair, like no crazy thought. No, well, no. It tends to be that the last two, if one of those is yes, we've got like a goodie on our hands. Do you know what I mean? We've got something. We've got something. We've got like a bit of meat. Like whether that might be like a Mandy freak out. Like that is like it's got the mother, like a mother of all like Nick Cage freakouts. Like, but his voice is fine and his hair is fine. But there's other films like Vampire's Kiss, like as much as again it's kind of joked about and stuff like that. Freakouts, left, right, and centre in that film.
All the time. More freakouts than not.
Mad voice.
Very mad voice. Sometimes mid freakout.
I would say, like, a highly enjoyable film. Like, I think it like swung for like that's a film that feels like it swung and missed. Basically, it wasn't setting out to like, I don't know. It kind of it wanted to do something but didn't. It did it. Yeah, it's kind of like an Icarus. It flew. It just kind of didn't get where it wanted to go. But like,
Yeah.
whereas like the films that seem to be like the most like, I don't know, like ones I tend to not enjoy are the ones that like just seem a bit lackluster and just like Nick Cage is phoning it in. I'd very much say, considering like reading the background that this was his idea and like just kind of he's got that affinity for the kind of mystic world that like he didn't give it a bit more oomph.
Um,
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, if you didn't tell me that that he was the one who sort of it was his idea and he put like loads of money into it, I would have put money
I
on
didn't say
that
he put
he did
money
this
into
for.
it.
Oh, sorry. Okay, well, I think he might have been one of the producers, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. If I didn't think that this was his idea, I would have definitely thought he did this for a fat wedge, and that's the only reason.
Great. So that is the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Max, before I let you go, do you have anything you want to like shout out to the like listeners? Do you want to plug anything, whether that be your the new record label you're running or anything like that?
Well, I'm putting out putting out a couple cassettes. It's called Ugly Twin Records. It's at Ugly Twin Rex RECS on Twitter, and Adam, who's in one of the bands Dribbler, who I'm putting out there. He's sorting out the Instagram for it at the same handle. What else am I doing? I'm going to be going on one daily exercise every day. So if anyone wants to join me for that, that'll be quite good, as long as you stay 2 meters apart. Other than that, see you online, guys. See you on the URL before I see you in the IRL.
So there you have it, guys. Another one bites the dust. Sorcerer's Apprentice was a bit of a stinker. So to wrap things up with the Anagram Hunter's Anagram, there are nicer prospects in watching the Sorcerer's Apprentice. There's many. There's probably Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, the Vampire's Assistant, or any of the Harry Potter films. You'd get a much more of a magical and fantastic ride than this. I just think, I don't know, it's a bit of a swing and a miss with this one. And it had all the potential to be great, but didn't quite cut the mustard. So, as always, you can keep up to date with what the Caged In podcast is doing on Twitter, Facebook, at Caged In Pod. You can go on Patreon as well. I have a Patreon account. There's many different rewards, from small things like joining the Cotton Club, the Caged In based chat group where we can discuss ideas and things that you want to kind of see on the episodes or any of the interviews I'm doing. If you have any cool leads or suggestions of who I could speak to, you can always catch me on there. And there's far more crazy things. So on some of the higher tiers, you can get yourself a t-shirt. You can, I think for something ridiculous, I will come to your house and record an episode. I will fly to wherever you are in the world, but you got to give me a lot of money for that one. And I think it's something like $70 or £70. I will call you up and read the Declaration of Independence to you. So if that's something that feels like, oh, what is my life missing is a stupid Englishman reading me the Declaration of Independence, then go on over to Patreon and sign on up. Join me next week as I talk to my good old friend Joe Gardner of the Tonight With podcast, where we will be discussing something that seems like there's a bit of a theme of what's going on in Nick Cage's career at this moment, because we'll be talking about Season of the Witch, and this is a bit of a packed lineup. So we have Cage, Rob Sheehan, Ron Perlman, and the great Stephen Graham in what looks like a medieval witchcraft epic. I look forward to speaking to you then. I've been Petrus Patsilivus. I've been caged in. You guys have been fantastic. Keep caged in at home. We're all caged in at the moment. Stay safe. I love you. Bye-bye.